All I have to say is, are you having a good time? If you've watched this movie, you know what I'm talking about. When tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, he invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. As strange things start to happen, Frida questions her reality. The film stars Naomi Ackie, Channing Tatum, Kristen Slater, Simon Rex, Adria Arjona, Geena Davis, and Alia Shawkat, and was directed by Zoe Kravitz, and this is her directorial debut. Blink twice. Now, I did see a trailer before going in to watch this film, and when I did see that trailer, it really reminded me of a film that I saw years back that I thought was a complete disaster called Fantasy Island. So my expectations for this film, I would say, weren't that high. I was hoping it would be a decent film, but I really didn't dive too much into the trailer too much. A lot of times when I watch trailers now, I just watch maybe like 30 to 40 seconds, and then I don't really pay attention to the rest. I usually cut the trailer off, or if I'm at a movie theater, I honestly don't really pay attention to the trailers that much. And with this one, I just knew that it was people going to this island, and that's really all I knew. And obviously something really weird and strange was going on. Now, from a positive standpoint, I can say that with a directorial debut, I think from a technical standpoint, I really do actually like this film. I think the cinematography is done really well. It's vivid, it's bright. There is red and white used throughout this entirety of this film. In the beginning of the film, you have Channing Tatum, who is actually getting interviewed, and everything is just white. You have the outfits here in which a lot of the women wear, like bikini tops and bottoms. They are in white as well. And then you have red as well, which is like the flower that's represented, the wine that they're drinking, and just other things that really represent the colors really well, and just the vividness and just the way that the whole cinematography and the stylization of this film, I definitely appreciate about this film. I also did like the main actress here. I've never seen her in any film before, to my knowledge. She plays a character named Frida, and she has a sense of something really going on here. Adria Arjona is in this film as well. She was in Morbius, and she's really had a bad rep with that film, and she's been in some other films, and I've really liked her acting. I think here she also does a pretty good job. There's a lot of strange things really going on in this island. Obviously, there is some different people and caretakers that are on this island as well, and they're acting really weird and strange. And it's not like you haven't seen that in a film before, but it really had me intrigued in the movie. There's a ton of themes here, and I think a lot of them will probably relate to women. Not to say that men can't relate to these too, but you have themes of innocence, courage, vulnerability, also purity with the color of white, and then the representation of red that is danger and sacrifice, and also the fact that there is a lot of elitism as well in this film. Now, I do think from a standpoint of this film as far as pacing, I wasn't that much of a fan of the pacing overall. I felt like a lot of times in this film we're kind of going through the same motions, and a lot of that is more so in the 60 to 70-minute mark, in which a lot of these types of themes, even though they're kind of being explored, and I understood kind of what was going on at that point, there's a lot of partying going on, there's a lot of drinking going on, and you have the characters kind of going through the motions of doing the same thing on this island. You know, you have like a few little shots here and there of the different people that are working on this island, and there's a little bit of strange things happening with that, and you're kind of wondering what's going on. But at the same time, from a pacing standpoint, it is really slow getting to the meat and potatoes of this film, which really in the last 30 to 35 minutes of this film is really where it really picks up. I also wasn't a fan of the fact that a lot of the characters here are very one-dimensional, especially Frida's character. I felt like she really doesn't get that much development. We do see that she is very much obsessed with Channing Tatum's character. She sees a video of him and she's in the bathroom. We know that she is watching this video, obviously, and she lives in this dingy apartment. We really don't get much else from her. We know that she's catering at this fundraiser in the beginning of the film, and really after about 10 to 15 minutes, we're already on the island, and we have obviously met Channing Tatum, and Channing Tatum has obviously invited her to this island. But again, with him as well, we know that he's a millionaire, and we know that he's done something wrong. He's getting therapy, and he's trying to make it right. He then is obviously on this island. He's bought this island, purchased it, and he's just kind of getting away from all all the drama that he's had with his career, and we don't really know exactly why that is. We know that he's had a rough family life, but we don't really know why either. They never really dive into that, which was definitely a missed opportunity, I think, to really understand his character a little bit more, and maybe some of the traumas that he's faced. And even with some of the other characters, especially the men characters, we don't really get anything from them, or to really understand, even though they're doing what they're doing here on this island, we never really understand them as characters, which was a disappointment to me. You have Christian Slater in this film, and he's just going around taking Polaroids and saying, "Are you having a good time?" You have Simon Rex in this film, and he was in the A24 film Red Rocket, in which he gave a phenomenal performance, and he just doesn't really have a lot to do. And then you have Geena Davis. She's been in some prolific films in her time, and she doesn't have a ton either here to do, and I really wanted a little bit different result with her character and where they were really going with her character, but I don't really want to talk about that because obviously that would go into spoiler territory. Now, when we get into the third act here, obviously it really ramps up and there's some things that are really hitting the fan. And when it gets to that third act and we get the result and what's really going on towards the end result there, I wasn't really a fan of it. I didn't really like how they ended up ending this film, and just the way that the result was towards the end of the film and where they really went with it. I just wasn't really that much of a fan of that whole portion of the film. So when it really comes down to it, as far as a rating for this film, I had to think about it for a little bit. I was leaning towards like a 2.5. I think I'm going to go for a 3 out of 5. I like this film to a point. I like the stylistic vision. I like the themes here. I like the concept of this film. And I think that there's definitely more they could have done to make this a better film. It definitely has its flaws. I can't say that I really hated this film. I wasn't necessarily bored during this film, but I definitely wanted a lot more from it. It's one of those films I can say, I don't regret watching it, but it's not a film that I would say I need to rush out and to rewatch it again. Maybe I would watch it again down the line to see if my opinion would change. But overall, to me, it's a film that for a debut, it's not terrible to me, but it's not a film that I can say that I am just rushing to rewatch. So have you checked out Blink Twice? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? If you haven't checked it out yet, are you going to check it out in the theater, or are you going to wait for streaming or VOD? Leave any and all comments down below, and thank you guys for watching as always, and I'll see you guys next time.